Sorry, Dr. Dwyer.
Sergeant, you've still got MFI-RR in front of you. I haven't got much longer with it, but if you wouldn't mind, please, having a look at page 3. This is an exchange with Constable Rolfe on the 22nd of September 2019, and you say to him, problem with your application. Are you referring there to the application to the TRG that Constable Rolfe made?
Yes.
And he replies, no, application was fine, except that Dashi wrote a stupid comment and Vickery didn't fill out her bit at all. Who's Dashi?
Peter Dash, I think, was either the officer in charge. He would have been a senior sergeant.
Officer in charge of the
TRG. Of the Alice Springs Police Station.
Okay. And Vickery, what was her role at the time?
Superintendent Pauline Vickery, I think at that stage was superintendent at the Alice Springs Station.
Thank you. Now, application was fine, except that Dashi wrote a stupid comment and Vickery didn't fill out her bit at all, but they reckon that the other applicants have longer and more diverse careers than me and recommend I go out bush for 12 months. Ha ha, fucking joke. And then your reply is, that's their standard line now. Everyone knows people go out bush because they're fucking lazy. Maybe that's who they're looking for now. The order of preference now is blacks, chicks, gays, and lazy fucks, then Zach. When you heard that text message come out in the press, did you realise you'd sent it?
Yeah, probably. I can't remember.
I've asked you all the questions and you've acknowledged the important role that sergeants play in leadership and modelling behaviour. The behaviour you're modelling to a young officer there is that it's okay to be racist, it's okay to be sexist, it's okay to be homophobic. Do you accept that?
No.
Why not?
I've thought about how to explain this, and I'm not saying it's a joke, but blacks, chicks, gays, I forgot the other one, they're not the subject of my text. It's just an order I've put them in. The subject is the selection panel or the selection process for a job. So I'm not making fun of Indigenous people, and I know I could have written that better. I could have said Indigenous. I'm not making fun of that. I'm not making fun of women, and I said chicks. Not making fun of gay folk. I've just put them in an order as I saw them. Basically, I'm saying that to him, to Zachary Rolfe, that it is an order, that it's not on merit so much, that race plays a part, equality plays a part, inclusion plays a part. I didn't make fun of anyone, so I did take offence at the way the text was reported, because it wasn't meant like that. I've just put them in an order.
Well, Sergeant, let's look at it carefully though. So I appreciate, aren't there two separate issues? You're saying to Her Honour, are you, that you didn't mean to be offensive when you sent that text message?
To be offensive to anyone, and I'm making fun, well, the subject of that text is the selection process.
Are you having a joke with Constable Rolfe in that text message?
I think consoling probably isn't. He's upset that he's missed out, and I think that's what it is. And whether that's a poor attempt at being a mentor, at being a friend, at being a supervisor, that's what that is all about.
Sergeant, let's just be real about it. You're not saying, look, mate, at the moment, in terms of their selection process... Start again. You're not saying, mate, in terms of their selection process, they've got to take into account inclusion and diversity. Better luck next time. You're saying the order of preferences now is blacks, chicks, gays, and lazy fucks. There's a group of members of the community that you're including there who come above Constable Rolfe, and blacks, chicks, gays, and lazy fucks. I don't know if they're supposed to be in any particular order, but you've certainly grouped them together there, haven't you?
Yeah, no, that is the order.
It's pretty disparaging about everybody in that group, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Do you agree that what you're intending to do is console him, saying it's not a merits process? You'd be better than a whole lot of people, but unfortunately they put blacks, chicks, gays and lazy fucks first.
Yeah, and I think the lazy fucks obviously refers to what we were talking about, people going bush, and as I explained, people disappearing to go bush because they wanted to dodge the radio and not do much. But that earlier I said I won't defend what I said, but here I am.
You're defending that? You think that comment's okay?
I'm defending that.
Okay. You think that comment was okay to send to her?
Probably not a classy comment, but it was never ever meant to disparage anyone.
I'm going to suggest to you that regardless of what you meant by that text message, it has the effect of disparaging the group of people that you include in there. People with dark skin, women, homosexuals are all disparaged by that text.
Well, that was never the intent, and that's not how I see it.
What about the effect of it, though?
What do you mean the effect?
Do you accept that the effect of it is to put down or disparage people with dark skin, women, and gay people?
No, I just said earlier that was never the intent.
What about
was
the
never
effect
the
of it? What about the effect of it?
No.
Constable Rolfe, I should say, was applying for the TRG.
Correct.
How many male heterosexual white officers have missed out on jobs in the TRG due to positions being given to people with dark skin or women or homosexuals, do you think?
I don't know.
Do you seriously think that's what happens? Is that your view?
That's what I wrote. I'll say again, I wasn't disparaging anyone.
And I'll ask you my question again. Is that your view as a sergeant in the police, that it's not a merit-based selection?
Yes, sometimes I think it is.
And do you think that's because political correctness has gone mad?
What's the relevance of that, really?
I press the question because it's clear. I'll be making a submission about what this text message means, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of what the sergeant intended by it.
Excuse me?
Pardon
Is
me.
there something further that you needed to add?
No, thank you, Your Honour.
Do you press the objection?
I've raised the objection and I
All
think
right,
Council's
well, I'll
dealt
hear
with it.
you.
Just the relevance of that question.
I'm happy to withdraw it and ask it another way if it doesn't, to save time. What did you were questioning, were you the merit selection for the TRG? Is that right, Sergeant?
I wasn't getting into the nitty-gritty, I guess, of the selection process. I was just saying, here's the selection process. This selection process has worked against you this time.
You try to sympathise with your mate,
I did.
right? You try to console him because he missed out on a spot he wanted.
I did.
And you're trying to suggest to him, don't worry, mate, it's not merits-based. You haven't missed out because you're not good enough. It's because these other people are being put in before you. Correct.
Yes.
And you're suggesting, aren't you, that you were not satisfied that it was a merit-based process to get into the TRG?
I probably didn't go into it that deep.
You might not have thought about it that deeply, but that's what you were suggesting at the time, isn't it?
Sorry, what was...
You were suggesting that it wasn't merit-based, that Constable Rolfe had missed out because this other group of people, blacks, chicks, gays and lazy fucks, were getting in when meritorious people were missing out.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Sorry.
Isn't the implication of that text message that white, male, heterosexuals are missing out because there is this affirmative action in favour of people with dark skin, women and homosexuals?
I think that's going a lot deeper than I ever intended that text to be.
Well, what did you mean by it? What did you intend for it?
You missed out.
Why did you say, if you just intended you missed out, the order of preference now is blacks, chicks, gays and lazy fucks?
I don't know, there might have been something going on at that time. I don't know. And I think it was one of the reasons given why he didn't get it was his application wasn't diverse enough.
What he just said to you was they reckon the other applicants have longer and more diverse careers. Not that they had more diverse backgrounds, but that they had more
Not diverse background, diverse careers, and that they'd been bush.
Yes. That's the explanation Constable Rolfe gives to you.
Yeah.
And the reply is something quite different. Everyone knows people go out bush because they're fucking lazy. Maybe that's who they're looking for now. The order of preference now is blacks, chicks, gays and lazy fucks, then Zach. Aren't you sending him the message that it's not a proper merits-based process and that those other groups get put before him?
Probably.
Do you want to reflect on your earlier comment that you stand by that?
I do.
What do you say about it now? You do stand by it still?
It was... I don't know the seriousness which I gave that text.
So I think I asked you at the beginning of these questions, were you trying to make a joke or was it your genuinely held view?
I think... I don't know, console's not the right word, but I think that's probably as close as I'm going to come. He was upset. He'd missed out on a spot, supposedly because he hadn't been bush. And we talked about going bush, and there was places up north, and he said he didn't want to give a year of his life. He probably didn't see his policing career being that long. It wasn't going to be a 20-year career. I think that's how he saw it. He didn't want to spend a year in the bush.
I'll come to those text messages shortly. Just in relation to the question, I'll just go back to what I asked you initially. In relation to the message sent, in terms of your leadership role then, I was suggesting to you that regardless of your intention, the message that you sent by virtue of that text is that it is okay to be racist, and it's okay to be sexist, and it's okay to be homophobic. Would you accept that that's the effect of that message?
No.
Would you accept that the effect of that message is that it's okay to make jokes about those people in society, women, people with dark skin, and homosexuals?
No, I'm not. Ricky Gervais breaks down a joke and he explains what the subject of the joke is. And I think I've done that. The subject of that, if it is a joke, is the selection process.
I don't think we've established yet whether it is a joke, but in response to my earlier questions, you said that your view was that you questioned whether getting into TRG was a merit-based process.
If spending a year out bush would put someone ahead of someone who maybe has more skills, then I would question the fact it was merit-based.
Do you know who got the position in TRG? You don't have to tell me who it is, I just want to know if you know.
Possibly, but I don't want to say.
Were they a woman? Was it a woman who got that position? Was it someone who had dark skin?
No.
Was it someone who was a homosexual?
I don't think so.
Why on earth would you write to him that the order of preference is blacks, chicks, gays and lazy fucks?
I don't know.
Just in fairness to you then, Sergeant, I anticipate submitting in relation to this text message that this was a failure of your leadership because you sent a message to a young officer, as in you set a standard for a young officer that it was okay to speak about that group of people in our community in that disparaging way. Do you accept that on reflection?
Do I accept you're going to write a submission?
No. Do you accept that you in effect gave Zachary Rolfe the impression that it was okay to be disparaging about people in our community who are from groups.
People in our community, it's people in the police force, other police officers.
Do you want that question again? I'll just incorporate what Her Honour just suggested.
Sorry, I thought that was she was talking to you.
Sorry, Sergeant. What Her Honour is assisting me with is that in effect you send a message to Zachary Rolfe that it is okay to be disparaging about police officers who are black, or police officers who are women, or police officers who are gay. Do you accept that was the effect of it?
No.
That message exchange goes on to say, you write to him, who recommended you go out bush, Vickery, Dash or the TRG panel? And you'll see that the recommendation for Constable Rolfe, as he indicates earlier, was they recommend I go out bush for 12 months, ha ha, fucking joke, is what he writes. And your response is, who recommended you go out bush, Vickery, Dash or the TRG panel? And he says, I know, I don't want to get to TRG bad enough to waste 12 months of my life out bush doing nothing. I'm definitely last on the list, ha ha. The police selection panel, I called and asked for advice to improve my app. And they said, app's fine, but go out bush. So you see there that what Constable Rolfe is saying to you is that he had got the recommendation to go out bush for 12 months from the police selection panel. And your reply is, I went to Nigel Bennett's yesterday for coffee and he was saying the same thing. Bush experience will trump everything else. Amazing. I get to read applications that guys have written when trying to get out of Alice and the shit they put in there. Imagine being in Alice Springs attending one job a day and then spending the rest of the shift writing all about that job to the bosses. The next day you spend all day driving the cage to the workshop and then go shopping while the cage is fixed. When the cage is fixed, you drive it back to the station and go home. Then due to that being picked above everyone else for any job you apply for. And his reply is, I know, ha ha, fuck man, what do you do, etc. I suggest to you that the behaviour you're modelling in that exchange is contempt for police who want to go and work in the community for 12 months or more. Do you accept that that's the effect of it?
In the community?
In a bush community. In a community of Aboriginal people, regionally in Alice Springs, is what he was suggested to do, isn't it? Rolfe was getting suggestions from the police selection panel that if he wanted to get into the TRG, it would be helpful for him to go out bush, meaning it would be helpful for him to go and work in an Aboriginal community as a community police officer. You understood that, didn't you?
Yep.
And you're contemptuous of that in your exchange with him, aren't you?
Exactly.
And you're basically saying to him at 4:43 in that exchange that if you're a bush police officer, you're a community police officer, you're effectively going to attend one job a day and spend the rest of the shift writing up all about that job to the bosses and then drive the cage to the workshop and go shopping where the cage is fixed. That's what you're suggesting life is for a community police officer, isn't it?
Tongue in cheek, yes.
And I suggest to you that what you're modelling there or suggesting is okay for Constable Rolfe is to be contemptuous of police who want to go and spend 12 months working in an Aboriginal community.
He didn't want to go bush.
Just reflect on my question, if you will, Sergeant.
Yeah.
I'm asking you about your role in these text messages, nothing about what was in Constable Rolfe's head. I'm asking you about your leadership role and the way in which you might have let yourself down and let the police down. What you're expressing
I don't think
to
I've let the
Constable...
police down.
What you're... Well,
So,
thank you for clarifying that that's your thought.
you're welcome.
In this text message, I'm suggesting to you that you were modelling a type of behaviour, an attitude for Constable Rolfe. Do you accept that?
No, I think it's a text. It's getting him over the fact he's missed out on that position. It's encouraging him, softening the blow maybe. That, like I've written that there, that would be an extremely long text. It's tongue in cheek. I know bush cops don't go to one job a day.
But that's the message you're sending to Constable Rolfe, isn't it? You're sending him a message that that's all they do. They go to one job a day.
No, I don't think that is the gist of the text.
Well, I suggest to you that is the gist of the text, that in fact bush cops don't have to work very hard. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't think that's it.
And I'm going to suggest to you that fits with your earlier comment that lazy cops go out bush.
For limited periods of time.
So you're just trying to say that the cops who go out bush just for 12 months are the lazy ones?
Or 2 weeks, or some of them. Not all of them. I'm not saying that. I think too much has been read into the text.
So I take it you don't withdraw anything that you suggested in that text message. You still see it's fine?
Yes.
Finally then, the last page there, page 4. You're writing to Constable Rolfe about a complaint that you're having to answer, is that right?
Which one's it? 21?
Have a look, the one that begins will fuck me,
Oh, okay.
17th of October.
Yeah, what was your question again?
You're writing to Constable Rolfe to complain about the fact that you're having to answer a complaint made by a member of the public, is that right?
No. That I'm being questioned, I think again, maybe for the third or fourth time, about an incident that was over a year old.
Okay, so I'll just clarify the incident. You say, I'm having to answer more questions about an incident over a year ago. Some turd claimed I knocked him off his bike with 301 and then roughed him up. What's 301?
Vehicle. The sergeant's vehicle.
So a member of the public had complained that you'd knocked him off his bike
No.
in a car?
No.
Who had complained that you knocked him off his bike with 301?
So the complaint was coming from PSC. That I was speaking to them again.
Sorry, we're at cross purposes. You were speaking to PSC because a member of the public had made a complaint that you had knocked that person off his bike, his or her bike with 301.
No.
What was the complaint? What were you speaking to PSC about?
About that a complaint had been made by someone who was riding a push bike, that I had knocked him off his bike and then roughed him up.
And you were saying to Rolfe, well, this is ridiculous. Well, fuck me, I've got to go back and answer more questions.
Correct.
All seems well, but now they've got a hard on over the fact that I used 301 to try and block him in. They're now asking a fourth lot of questions. I think they pick someone and then just pick on him, finding my breaking point maybe. You're just having a whinge to a colleague effectively, are you, about having to go to PSC and answer that complaint?
Correct.
And he writes back, over a year ago, fuck their gay cunts. Yeah, just find a name and go for you, over and over. Fuck them. Just let them waste time. And then if they ever have enough evidence, just stress leave until they let it go. Seems what everyone else does. And then there's no significant response from you in reply.
What do you mean, no significant?
I can find it for you if you like, but the last page of the text message. I'll find it for you before you finish giving evidence, but can I suggest to you, I might be able to do that quickly.
I was just, I had nothing here. That's the only
That's
reason
right.
I was asking.
That's right. But just let me clarify. Your response to Constable Rolfe, just to complete that, is all the best.
All the best.
All the best is what you write to Constable Rolfe in reply. Would you like to see that?
Yeah, if I could, because
Different day. Sorry, Sergeant, let me clarify. All the best is what you write to Constable Rolfe on a different day.
Okay.
I think, in fact, after what happens after the tragedy of Yuendamu. But in any event, the only exchange in relation to this particular point that occurs on the 17th of October and the text messages that we have are the ones that are set out in that MFI.
Yep.
You're upset, obviously, at having to go to PSC for a fourth time. to answer a full lot of questions, correct?
Yeah, or they will send you questions and you answer them.
Okay, and you're having a whinge about that to a member of your patrol group, in effect?
Correct.
But do you accept that what you're sending, the message you're actually sending, is that you're contemptuous of that PSC process?
Somewhat. The first response I sent, I believe I received an answer, good response, and I believe that was it.
It's part of your role as a sergeant, isn't it, to model respect for other police officers?
Yeah.
He's not just someone at the same...
police processes.
Sorry, ma'am.
And model respect and value in police processes. I'm suggesting that's part of your role.
Yes.
And you were not doing that when you sent him that text message. That is, you weren't modelling respect for other officers or police processes.
No, I think at this stage I was having a good old moan with a friend.
But he wasn't just a friend, and he wasn't just a member of your patrol group, Sergeant. You were the sergeant, and he was a number of ranks below you, and you were supposed to be modelling good behaviour for him. Do you accept that?
Yes and no again. Yes, in a role as a supervisor and a sergeant and a constable. No, in that and I think possibly I was on leave at the stage, I'm not quite sure, then it's as a friend.
I've got a document in front of me which is the Northern Territory General Order Code of Conduct and Ethics. For the benefit of my friends, it's 17-28. And Miss Laws is just going to give you a copy of that. Have you seen that document before today?
Probably.
There's a number of clauses that might be relevant, but have a look at page 5 if you don't mind. There's a subheading Personal Conduct. 19 is members must act with honesty and integrity at all times. Members must always conduct themselves both on and off duty in a proper manner that does not bring or has the potential to bring discredit to or adversely affect the police force. The text message that you sent, Constable Rolfe, has the potential to discredit the police force, doesn't it?
No, it was a text message. It was between Constable Rolfe and myself.
But it has the potential to impact on his view of the PSC, doesn't it?
He can make up his own mind on that one.
Even though you're a sergeant and you're supposed to be in a role model.
Even though I'm a sergeant and I'm his friend, and yep, he can make up his own mind.
So once you form a personal friendship with somebody, did you just put to one side your
No,
obligations as a sergeant?
No, that's not what I'm saying, but, and hence the answer before, yes and no.
His reply to you is this: over a year ago, fuck their gay cunts. Yeah, they just find a name and go for you, over and over. Fuck them. Just let them waste time, and if they ever have enough evidence, just stress leave until they let it go. Seems what everyone else does. What did you think of that text message when he sent you?
I don't know what I thought of it.
What do you think about it now?
Not too much, it's just an answer.
So you don't have a problem with it?
No.
You don't have a problem with a police officer in the Northern Territory in your patrol group expressing that view as to, firstly, stress leave?
No, because some people did go on stress leave, if you will, if it was stress leave. And sometimes you wondered, but I was never going to ask why someone had gone off.
Sometimes you wondered if other police officers had been gaming the system, had been faking being mentally ill so they could take advantage of the generous
Yeah.
stress leave provisions.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of that? Of the fact that, do you believe officers have done that?
Probably, I imagine they have.
What do you think of that behaviour?
I don't like it.
What do you think then of Constable Rolfe's suggestion to you? Fuck 'em. Just let them waste time, and then if they ever have enough evidence, just stress leave until they let it go. That's what he's suggesting to you, isn't he?
I don't think he's suggesting, I think he's stating that's what happens. I don't think he's telling me to go on stress leave.
Well, you're complaining about the process. He's then referring to them in an abusive term and homophobic term. Do you agree?
That's a homophobic term, yep.
And then he says, just find a name. They find a name and go for you, over and over. Fuck them. Just let them waste time. And then if they ever have enough evidence, just stress leave until they let it go. That's his suggestion to you at that stage, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it was a serious suggestion. I think he was just saying
He's certainly expressing a belief there, he appears to be, isn't he? That there are members of the police force who game the system by pretending to be mentally ill.
well, not necessarily mentally ill, maybe like sick leave, maybe an injury or...
Just fake it until you get out of answering a disciplinary complaint. That's what...
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense because it doesn't go away.
So you just didn't take him seriously in that?
No.
But you let him express that view without... or you let him make those comments without correcting him, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't correct that text, no.
And what I said to you earlier about the standard you walk past has been said on a number of different occasions, but one of them is David Morrison, when he was the Chief of the Army, Lieutenant General, said this at a speech about the treatment of women. The standard... Oh, that's fine. I'll withdraw it. I'll ask it again. You agreed earlier...
I was going to just suggest that you didn't correct the text because it was a view that you shared.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't share it.
Oh, I thought you shared it because...
Oh, sorry, that some people went... Not for complaints, though. That didn't make sense. If there's a complaint against you, if you go away, when you come back, it's still there. It still has to be answered.
You didn't correct the text because you didn't see it as your role to demonstrate any leadership on that issue when you were just chatting as
I think I was being a friend here.
And you didn't correct him or say anything about the use of the term gay cunts, a homophobic slur?
No.
And that was, in those circumstances, sending him a message that it was okay to use those terms.
I think I don't know. I didn't even think of it.
I suggest to you that when you think about it now, you would recognise it as a failure of leadership. Do you accept that?
No.
Do you think you let yourself down or the police force down in any way by not correcting that, pulling Constable Walker?
No, like looking at it now, it doesn't look good. But did I let myself down? Do I think I failed in my leadership? No. He talked that way on that occasion and he said that.
All right, so just to be crystal clear, in your role as a sergeant of a patrol group, you don't think that you have any obligation to pick up homophobic language used by members of your patrol in text?
The question I'm asking myself is what role was I in at that time? And I think there I'm just a mate.
Okay. Last question. On the 11th of November, several days after Kumanjayi passed away, there was a gathering at Constable Roll's house as a formal debrief or informal debrief. Sorry, informal debrief. Did you attend that?
No.
Nothing further, Your Honour. I'm informed that Mr. Sutner has something to say.
Your Honour, I just asked that the matter stand down. There's a matter on which your counsel assistant team may need instructions.
Could that not happen?
Can you just finish this with me?
Could that not happen at the afternoon break so we can get going?
I'll check. Is it something that we need to sort out now? If we do need to sort it out now, that's fine. What I'll do is I'll take it
Your Honour has
now.
just been served with an originating motion. Your Honour is a party to those proceedings, and Your Honour might need to give your counsel assisting team or independent counsel instructions about whether you wish to make an appearance in those proceedings. I asked Ms McNally whether we could have some time, and we were told you can come if you want. So I'd ask that the matter
That's not
stand down,
exactly
please.
correct either. Perhaps if my learned friend would stick to the truth.
Oh, that's offensive. My learned friend should not be denigrating in that way to junior counsel assisting, Your Honour.
Your Honour, they were precisely the
Inappropriate.
words that were used. I asked for some time to discuss the matter with you. I asked for some time to discuss the matter between counsel, and we were told that we could not be accommodated. So that's why I'm asking for some time to take instructions from Your Honour.
All right. Well, I'm going to take the afternoon adjournment and everyone can have a cold drink.
All stand, turn your foot up, let's temporarily adjourn.
I'm not going to get to say phones today.
What's really happening here is it's getting a bit hot.